Hello guys, my name is Herwig and I apologize in the first place for my bad English because I am from Germany and I don't speak English very much and very often. But I still wanted to show you how I made the animation of the true secret ending of Resident Evil 4 Remake because I wasn't happy with the ending the original Resident Evil 4 Remake gave me. So that's why I did my own ending. My own true ending I wish we got from Capcom. Okay, so let's start with the first scene. In the first scene, you can see the used aircraft flying into the scene, into the view of the camera. And that's pretty much it. No big animation is happening, that's all. And I want to show you how things are done and how I made this scene. So you can see this is Blender and all we see is the aircraft, the sun for some realistic lightning, I guess, I hope. And two cameras. One camera is here and the other camera is up here. So this is what's happening in the real scene. You can see that I only animated the plane flying inwards or to the middle of the scene. But the plane is actually not flying forwards. So the airplane is just standing still in the middle of nowhere. And in the ending scene, the airplane is flying back to the left. But why does it still seem that the airplane is flying in the final shot? That is because the camera is moving. This is the main camera for the first scene, and the camera is actually moving and not the plane. But this illusion makes the viewer feel like the airplane is actually flying and not something else. So look at this. When I start the animation, you can see how this camera is flying behind the airplane. Look at this. So, and this illusion makes you feel like something is moving. And if I show you the view from the camera, it looks like this. So these are just some tricks to make life easier because moving the airplane would make so much more work. It would be so much more work if the airplane is moving and you have to animate the camera for a moving object. This is way too hard. Yeah? So the second scene I did is with this camera. And you can see that this camera is starting now. And this is the same way, nothing is moving, just the camera is panning around the airplane, and then the airplane is animated to fly left out of the view of the camera. And this is all. But why does it still look in the final scene so realistic? That is because I got some realistic background. This is no 3D background. This is you call a background like this an HDRI. This is just a flat picture that covers the whole surrounding of the scene. But you can go forwards because if you move forwards or backwards, nothing happens. This is just even if the plane would move forward, it wouldn't move in the room. It is just a flat picture, no animation, no 3D object. Okay, so this is what's happening in the first scene. Nothing too special, but the camera movement makes it all look so realistic. If you look back at the scene. And when I rendered it out, bro, I was sitting here and I was thinking, holy shit, it looks so good. I don't have to do any more post-production, post-editing. It looks just out of Blender, it looks good. Okay, let's move on to the second scene. Okay, this is the second scene. So in the second scene, there is way much more happening and way much more animation happening than in the first scene, because in the first scene was nothing. And this is the scene where the most animation parts are happening. Okay, so we have two cameras going on. The first camera is outside of the plane, and the second camera is inside of the plane, but we'll get to that in a minute, what is happening inside of the plane. So in this scene, I animated a bit more movement of the plane, so you can see how the plane is moving through the camera and away from the camera towards the middle of the scene. So in this animation, I did a bit more flying animation. You can see how the airplane is wiggling left to right to simulate a bit more flying or a bit more realistic flying movement. And then towards the end of the scene, I didn't use this part, but it's still in here because I meant to use it, but it's not happened to get inside the final animation. And you can see how the airplane is flying out of the camera view. And if we look at the whole animation, you can see when the plane arrives in the middle, then the main animation starts. And the main animation happens inside the plane. So you can see how the back lift is opening. And then the bump is going to the back. But in the way it folds down, this is impossible, because look, now I'm following the plane so we can see what's happening. Okay, the plane is flying to the middle, then the lift opens up. I don't know how you call it. The lift opens up, and then you can see the bump is dropping down. But I did not animate it far away. It stops right here. But the inside camera is not able to see it at this point. This is quite funny, because you would think that everything is animated well, and in every movie you watch, things are animated good and well, but that's not the case. Most things that are out of camera stops moving, just like in games. Just like I showed you in the cutscene secrets on my channel. The whole series shows you how things are animated when people are out of camera view. Okay, so this is how the bump is dropping. It just falls like 2 meters down. If it would explode in this place, everyone in the plane would be dead. Funny. Okay, and now let's have a look at the inside camera, because that is quite interesting what is happening inside. Can I have the inside view? Yes. So this is the inside view. The plane overall was complete empty. I had to model the seats. I had to model the bump, and I had to model these holdings. I don't know how you call it. Okay, this is the inside view of the plane. So the camera is just going forward to the bump. Then the bump is transported out of the airplane, but it's, of course, it's still inside, but you can't see it. Just as I said, if it would drop here, everyone would be dead. So, and then the bomb drops, but it's still there, but no one can see it. And that's pretty much it. So you can see, as you can see, there's no background. That is because I added the background, the hills you can see in the final rendering. I added these in the post-production, in the post-editing. But I used for the outside camera, you can see I already used a background, but it's only visible inside the camera, not in the scene. So, and this is how I know where the plane is flying and how the plane is flying inside the scene. Yeah. Okay, this was the second scene of the whole animation. Let's go to the third scene. Okay, this is the third scene and the most, not the most interesting, but still a very interesting part of the final animation, because this is where the bomb drops down towards the town. So you can see there is nothing there, and this is the bomb and this is the camera. And if I now play the animation, you will see how I tricked everyone into thinking that the bomb is falling. It is not really falling. It stops here and it's just rotating, and this rotation makes the viewer think that the bomb is falling, but it's not. And it's going just a bit down and back up again, just for the perspective purpose and not anything else. So, and again, I only had the background in the camera, but when I rendered this out, there was no background, so I added the background later in the post-production. And the way I made this this background was with FreeCam. Like I do all my stuff on YouTube, I use the FreeCam. I go very, very way up from the little village, and I just fly the camera down to the village, and then I use this for the dropping bomb animation, and this is how the final animation looks. So again, the bomb is not falling, it's just rotating. But with the second video behind it, it makes you feel that something is moving, but it's not actually. Besides this small flying or I don't know, but you can see it. So the bomb, there's just a short time where the bomb is dropping a bit more down and back, just for the perspective purpose. You can see it gets bigger. Okay, so this is how the third animation is done. It is very, very easy and explainable, because you can see nothing big is happening here. Again, I used some sunlight, because in this video the sun was down here, so I had to simulate the sun to get the proper lightning on the bomb. If I move, you would see it would change the whole lightning of the bomb. Okay, let's go on to the next scene. Okay, this is one of the most interesting scenes. Every scene is interesting, by the way. So, but this scene didn't made it into the final animation. There you can see, again, there's no background. The background is only visible if you look through the camera. So this is the scene where the cargo plane flies towards the village. And the plane used to be more in the middle, because I animated the bomb falling towards the camera. You can see now the bomb drops. You have to pretend the plane was here, and the bomb drops, and I animated it so it would drop into the camera and then explode. But it didn't make it into the final scene, because it doesn't look as good as I saw it in my head, saw it in my mind. So the bomb didn't made it into the scene. So there you have it. This is how I made the scene of the right ending, my personally right ending of a Resident Evil 4 remake. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did explaining it to you. Again, sorry for my bad English. I'm from Germany and I don't talk English very much and very often. That's why I use text to describe what I have to say. Okay, bye.